Imagine, just for a second, a really profound test. Not just about what you know or what you can do, but a test that really goes deep, right into the core of who you are. Challenging your deepest beliefs, your actual character. Now, what if I told you there's this ancient spiritual obligation, really woven into the fabric of a major world religion that does exactly that?
Okay.
It's presented as much more than just, giving something away. It's a path to divine closeness, a really deep connection, and, interestingly, a powerful force for society, too.
And that, you see, is exactly what we're digging into today. Our mission here is to try and uncover the real essence of Zakah.
Zakah, right.
Because as our sources show, these are powerful sermon excerpts. It's often misunderstood. People tend to think, oh, it's just charity, maybe like a religious tax.
Yeah, that's common.
But these sources, they argue it's far, far deeper. We want to explore why Islam gives it such a high status, how it shapes your spiritual journey, that connection with the divine.
And its role in society, too, which is fascinating.
Absolutely critical. Often overlooked, but vital for the health and prosperity of the whole community. All drawn directly from these sermons.
And what I find really compelling about these sources is how they mix this deep spiritual stuff with really practical wisdom.
Very practical.
As we unpack this, I think you might have a few of those aha moments, seeing connections maybe you hadn't thought about.
Hopefully.
So, okay, let's set the stage. What does it really mean to give? Not just money, but as a test of your very essence, your character, the sincerity of your faith. Let's dive in.
Let's do it.
Okay, so right off the bat, our sources make this really bold claim. They establish Zakah's significance immediately. It's not just a pillar of Islam.
No, not just one of many.
It's specifically called the second greatest pillar, right after Salah, the ritual prayer. That's a huge statement. It's foundational.
It really is. And the gravity of that, well, it can't be overstated. The sources stress that just like denying Salah, rejecting prayer, is seen as disbelief. Similarly, denying Zakah also leads to being declared a disbeliever. So it's not just about following a rule.
Right, it's deeper.
It's a marker of your core belief system. It signals, a real commitment, or maybe a lack of it, to the fundamental ideas of the faith. It's about recognizing divine authority and actually responding, both ritually and, crucially, materially.
And they really drive this home historically, don't they? The sources mention that in early Islam, the companions...
The noble companions, may Allah be pleased with them.
Right. They unanimously waged jihad against such deniers, which is, wow, that's not just theology, it was practical.
Absolutely. It shows Zakah wasn't seen as like an optional donation. It was fundamental to the community's integrity, its very existence. They were defending a core principle, ensuring justice and well-being.
So it makes you ask, right?
Definitely.
Why? Why is this specific act, giving wealth, held in such incredibly high regard, almost like prayer itself?
Exactly. It pushes us to look beyond just, handing over cash.
Yeah.
It suggests profound spiritual and societal reasons elevate Zakah way beyond simple economics. There's a deeper test happening.
And this leads us to another really fascinating idea in the sources, attaining closeness to Allah. It's framed as a test of wisdom and a test of character. And the sermon uses this analogy, which I found quite relatable. Think about how we choose friends. As intelligent people, we don't just let anyone into our inner circle, do we?
No, of course not. We assess them. Character, sincerity, trust.
We're
careful.
We're discerning.
Exactly. And the sermon draws this profound implication. If we humans, with all our flaws, are so discerning, then can we expect him, Allah, the all-wise, the all-knowing, to accept just anyone or bestow honor and nearness in his divine court upon the undeserving?
That really shifts the perspective.
It does. It establishes that divine acceptance, being part of what the sources call Hizbullah, the party of Allah, isn't random.
Right. Not automatic.
No. It's a deliberate selection, a merit-based process. It's designed to see who is genuinely ready for that closeness and the huge responsibility that implies. It's about spiritual fitness, basically.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Because the source then lays out the specific criteria, the actual tests people go through for this divine acceptance.
Okay.
It's like a multi-stage process, a progression leading up to that key moment of financial sacrifice. Not just one thing, but several challenges.
A series of hurdles.
Exactly. And the very first test, the sources say, is all about understanding. Wisdom.
Intellectual capacity.
Sort of. It scrutinizes whether a person possesses insight, whether he can think and comprehend, or is merely a fool. But it's not about IQ scores.
No, it's focused.
It's about an intellectual ability aimed at divine truth. A willingness to see fundamental realities.
Right. And the sources are very clear on how you pass this first stage. It's about moving beyond just, what you grew up believing.
Active recognition.
Yes. Actively recognizing Allah as the one true master and creator, really internalizing that, realizing nothing else deserves worship or can ultimately help.
And goes further.
It does.
Yeah.
It's also about discerning the divine word, knowing it's authentic, and, crucially, distinguishing true prophets and false claimants.
So critical thinking is key here.
Absolutely. It's not blind faith. It's an active intellectual engagement, applying critical thought to the biggest questions: existence, purpose, divine guidance. You have to use your intellect to reach the truth, not just inherit it. It takes effort, reflection, honesty.
Okay, so once that understanding, that wisdom is there, then comes test number 2, moral strength.
The follow-through.
Exactly. Does someone have the courage, the conviction to accept truth and righteousness once they recognize it and whether they can act upon it? And just as important, can they decisively turn away from falsehood and evil once they see it for what it is?
Turning knowledge into action.
Right. The practical application.
Yeah. And the sources, again, are very clear about what failure looks like here. It's the person who knows the truth but stays, a slave to their desires.
Can't break free.
Right. Or someone blindly following ancestral traditions, even when they conflict with guidance. Or maybe they're bound by family customs, fearing what people think more than Allah's displeasure.
Peer pressure, essentially.
On a deep level, yes. Including those overly concerned with popular societal opinions and norms, unwilling to stand out even when their conscience says they should. It really highlights that struggle, doesn't it? Knowing what's right, but failing to do it because of pressure inside or out.
Yeah, the battle against just going along with things.
And comfort, too.
The sermon uses a really powerful Quranic quote here, doesn't it? About grasping the firmest handhold.
Yes, it does. So whoever rejects Taghut, which means false gods, evil forces, and believes in Allah, has certainly grasped the firmest handhold, which will never break.
Wow. That really conveys the resolve needed.
It does. It emphasizes the boldness required. Being ready to boldly abandon any path or way that goes against the guidance of Allah without caring for what anyone thinks.
Standing firm.
It's about having such deep conviction that it overrides everything else. Social pressure, personal convenience. It's not just thinking something is true, it's having the will to live by it, no matter the cost.
Okay, so first, understanding. Second, moral courage to act. What's the third test?
Obedience, submission.
Yeah.
This is where it gets really hands-on.
Right, where theory meets practice.
Exactly. The divine call comes. When the call of duty comes from us, sacrifice your sleep and be present. Set aside your work and come forward. Leave your personal interests, gains, comforts, and amusements behind, and fulfill your obligation.
That's demanding.
It is.
Yeah.
And the sources give vivid examples, like enduring hunger and thirst during fasting, from morning till evening, even with delicious food right there.
Willpower.
Or accepting every hardship when called for duty, intense heat, freezing cold, whatever it takes. It shows commitment isn't just talk.
It's consistent daily action.
Right. It proves your submission is real, not just when it's easy or comfortable.
So it's only after passing these 3 tests, intellect, moral strength, practical obedience, that the 4th one comes.
That's how the source presents it. The 4th and final test. Financial sacrifice.
Zakah.
The pivotal moment.
Absolutely. Because, as the sources suggest, our wealth is often what we cling to most tightly. It's tied up with our security, our identity.
Our control.
Precisely. So this test is specifically designed to see if, even after all that, people are still narrow-hearted, weak-spirited, and lacking in generosity when it hits their wallet.
It's the ultimate test of sincerity.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because the source asks this really cutting question. How can the exalted and supreme Lord, who is constantly and boundlessly showering his treasures upon his countless creatures, ever consider such a miserly soul worthy of his friendship?
That's powerful. It highlights the contradiction.
Completely. If you truly see Allah as the giver of everything, how can you be so stingy with what he's entrusted to you? It doesn't add up spiritually. And there's that striking story in the sermon too, the one about the son and his mother.
Oh yes, very impactful. This son showering his mother with, dear mother, ready to fight anyone for her honor.
All words.
All words. Because the moment she just reaches for a bit of grain from his basket, he grabs a stick and beats her away.
It's brutal, but it makes the point about hypocrisy so clearly. What you say versus what you do when it costs you something.
Exactly. The gap between profession and action. and the consequence for failing this final test. It's definitive according to the source.
What does it say?
Go. There is no place for you in Allah's party. You are also unfit. A complete rejection.
Unfit, not just failed, but unfit.
Yes. Unfit for the responsibility that comes with being close to the divine, unfit for that mission of representing divine values. It suggests that without this generosity, the other tests, even if passed, aren't fully complete.
So it culminates in this willingness to give. The sources even say that only those willing to sacrifice everything.
Their lives, wealth, children, family, homeland, and every beloved thing for the love of Allah. That's the pinnacle.
The ultimate commitment.
And this ties directly back to that key Quranic verse. You shall never attain righteousness until you spend in the way of Allah from that which you love.
Righteousness itself, not just brownie points.
Exactly. True piety isn't just rituals or belief. It's transforming your relationship with what you cherish most, including wealth, seeing it as a tool for a higher purpose.
Okay, so if someone passes these tests, what are the defining qualities? What makes them worthy of being in Allah's party, as the source puts it?
The sources detail several key qualities, and they paint a picture of real inner transformation. It goes way beyond just following rules.
To a power of character.
Definitely. First, they must be not narrow-hearted. The Quran says, whoever is saved from the greediness of his soul, it is they who will be the successful.
So overcoming that natural stinginess?
Yes, winning that internal battle against greed, recognizing true success lies in generosity.
Okay, what else?
Second, they must be magnanimous and patient. And this is radical generosity.
How so?
It means extending it even to people who've wronged you, hurt you deeply.
Wow.
The source says such a person still wouldn't deny them food or clothing for Allah's sake, and would still help them in dire need. It references forgiving others, asking, don't we want Allah to forgive us? It's about reflecting divine forgiveness.
That's a huge challenge. Giving to those who hurt you shows incredible maturity. What's third?
Third, being noble in character. The source quotes the Quran again about feeding the poor, the orphan, the captive only for Allah's love.
Expecting nothing back.
Exactly, saying, we feed you only for the sake of Allah. We desire neither reward nor thanks from you. Pure intention. No human transaction involved.
That purity seems central.
It is, which leads to the fourth quality, being pure in heart about the giving itself, meaning you carefully choose the best of what Allah gave you to give away.
Not the leftovers.
No. The source explicitly warns against giving defective things or what's subpar. It shows respect for the recipient and for the command. Giving your best.
That makes sense. Giving quality reflects the value you place on the act. You mentioned giving even when poor.
Yes, that's the fifth quality. Give even in poverty. The sources say the righteous spend during ease and hardship.
So generosity isn't just for the rich.
Not at all. It's a state of being, a continuous attitude of giving, regardless of your bank balance. It shows profound trust in divine provision, believing that giving, even from little, won't diminish you.
Incredible trust. What's sixth?
Sixth, being generous by nature. This means a deep, unshakable belief that whatever is spent in the way of Allah will not go to waste, and that Allah will return it many times over whether or not people notice or thank them.
Trusting in the unseen return.
Exactly. Certainty in divine reward, regardless of immediate results or human praise. That trust fuels the generosity.
And the last one.
Seventh, remember Allah in all circumstances. Even when blessed with wealth and family, their focus remains on Allah. Material success doesn't distract them.
So wealth doesn't become an idol.
Precisely. It doesn't divert them from the remembrance of Allah. Instead, their blessings might even deepen their connection, ensuring material gain doesn't lead to spiritual loss.
Wow. That list really paints a picture of deep transformation. But the sermon also talks about failure, right? It had that really strong statement.
Yes, very strong. That a person who hesitates to spend in Allah's way, who sees it as a burden or penalty, who makes excuses, and who seeks recognition or thanks for his charity, in truth, does not believe in Allah or the hereafter.
It frames zakah not just as an act, but as a litmus test for actual belief.
It does. And the source lists specific behaviors that show this lack of true faith, like nullifying your charity by reminding people or hurting their feelings.
Giving with one hand, taking away with the other.
Exactly. Or hoarding gold and silver instead of spending it in Allah's way, which comes with a severe warning.
It's not just saving, it's holding back what has a purpose.
Right. Or those asking for exemption from striving with wealth and lives, revealing their lack of belief. And it even says contributions aren't accepted from those who pray lazily or give unwillingly.
The internal state matters.
Immensely. or seeing what you spend as a loss. And finally, just being stingy, the source says you only withhold benefit from yourself. These aren't minor slips. They're signs of a deeper issue with faith, rooted in materialism and self-love.
So putting it all together, the core message seems to be
that Zakah isn't just a tax. It's not just a donation. It's described as the soul and spirit of Islam.
the soul and spirit.
Yes, and a severe test of faith itself. Absolutely central to your spiritual journey, defining your real relationship with God.
Okay, let's shift focus a bit now. From this intense personal journey to the societal impact, the sources talk about this concept of a goodly loan to Allah.
Hazana.
Yes, which sounds paradoxical, right? Spending in Allah's way is like giving him a loan. And he promises to repay it multiplied.
It is a paradox, and deliberately so, I think. The sources make you confront it. They ask, is the owner of the heavens and the earth in need of you? Does that pure being require a loan from you?
The obvious answer being no.
Absolutely not. Allah is completely self-sufficient. He owns everything, needs nothing from us.
So why the metaphor? Why call it a loan?
The sources explain it as his boundless grace, his incredible generosity. He asks you to spend, not for him, but for your own benefit, for your own good, for causes that ultimately serve your own people.
So the benefit comes back to us anyway.
Right. But even though it benefits us, he says, this is spending in my way. It is a loan to me. I take it upon myself to repay you, and I consider this your favor to me.
Wow. That's incredibly humbling from the divine perspective.
It's almost unfathomable. It elevates the giver incredibly, suggesting the act is so cherished, it's treated like a personal favor to God.
That completely changes how you think about giving. It's not an obligation you resent. It's this amazing opportunity for a direct transaction almost with the divine.
Exactly. And the Quran gives concrete examples of this loan, giving to the poor, needy, relatives, orphans, widows, travelers.
Helping struggling people without interest.
Yes. Supporting community welfare, anything for the betterment of humanity. And in all these cases, Allah promises to repay you on their behalf.
Turning compassion into a sacred exchange.
It truly shows the majesty of the most generous. Only a sovereign totally free of need could show such grace. It's beyond our usual ideas of debt and repayment. It honors the giver profoundly.
This radical view of giving really forces us to look at the opposite, human selfishness. The sources don't shy away from this.
No, they confront it head on. Islam's message here is described as revolutionary. The sources say man is by nature unjust and ignorant, with a narrow vision, small hearts, inherently self-centered. It's a blunt assessment.
An honest one, maybe.
Perhaps. And that narrow vision, that self-centeredness, leads to wanting immediate, tangible results.
Quick wins, things you can see.
Exactly. Small scale, quick to acquire, and easily perceptible benefits. The thinking is, what I earned is mine. Period. I decide. The focus is all personal needs, desires, profit. Maybe praise. There's a disconnect from the bigger picture, the unseen effects.
In the examples they give of selfish rationalizations, they really hit home.
They do. The starving orphan nearby.
Yeah.
Oh, that was his father's job. The struggling widow. Her husband should have planned better.
The lost traveler, his own fault for being unprepared.
Right. And lending money, always demanding interest. My money needs to make me more money. It's an uncomfortably familiar picture of prioritizing self-interest, shirking responsibility.
But Islam offers this completely different perspective.
A transformative one. It says, this wealth you call your own, you didn't create it. It's not purely from your own brilliance.
Yeah.
Everything is from Allah alone. It just dismantles the idea of absolute ownership.
It's not ultimately yours.
No, it's a trust.
A trust, right. Not ownership. You're a trustee.
And as a trustee, you're accountable for how you earn it and how you spend it. You can't just do whatever you want. You follow the rules of the real owner, Allah. It creates this sense of stewardship.
Responsibility.
Huge responsibility. And this teaching aims to cultivate generosity as a sacred duty, not for show. It removes that false pride by reminding you where it all comes from. When that sinks in, generosity becomes genuine. Not for praise, but to fulfill a divine duty, express gratitude. It's a shift from my money to Allah's trust flowing through me.
And what happens if that selfish mindset takes over a whole society? The sources paint a pretty grim picture.
Very grim. Individually, the selfish person hoards his wealth like a snake guarding its hole, or only spends if there's clear personal gain.
Transactional charity.
Exactly. A transaction cloaked in charity, calculated to get more back, often humiliating the recipient. Not selfless at all.
And societally.
Catastrophic. When selfishness dominates, Wealth accumulates in the hands of a few, while countless others are left destitute. The rich get richer, leveraging their capital. The gap widens, the poor suffer. It creates this massive instability.
They're a pressure cooker.
Precisely. The foundations start cracking under the injustice.
This leads to a whole cascade of problems, right?
A downward spiral, yes.
Wow.
Physical health deteriorates, malnutrition, disease spread, the ability to work declines, ignorance rises, education suffers, morality crumbles, people get desperate.
Resorting to crime just to survive.
It's a complete breakdown of the social fabric. Society starts consuming itself.
And the ultimate endpoint described is terrifying.
It is stark terms. Eventually, conditions worsen to the point where looting and rebellion break out. The wealthy are murdered, their homes plundered and burned, and they are wiped out without a trace.
Chilling.
It's a vivid picture of total societal collapse. The logical end when generosity, community welfare, trusteeship are abandoned for greed. It's presented as an almost inevitable cycle of self-destruction.
But it's not all doom and gloom. The sources also offer this profound insight about how interconnected everything is.
Yes, the interconnectedness of individual and community well-being. They state it clearly. An individual's well-being is inherently tied to the well-being of the society in which he lives. You can't isolate yourself.
Your fate is tied to the communities.
Which brings us to the circulation of wealth. It's explained simply but powerfully. If you share your wealth, that wealth circulates, eventually returning to you, but with far more benefits.
Like water flowing.
Exactly.
Oh, wait.
But conversely, if in your narrow-mindedness you hoard wealth or spend it only for personal gain, it will ultimately shrink. It's presented almost like an economic law, rooted in divine wisdom, trusting an unseen system.
And that example they use about adopting an orphan, that makes it so concrete.
It really does. You adopt, raise, educate an orphan, help them become productive. You've added value to your community's overall prosperity.
Right, through their skills, their work.
And when the whole society's wealth grows, you, as part of it, benefit. Maybe indirectly, but you benefit. Now, the alternative, you're selfish. Why should I help? That child might grow up uneducated, desperate, turn to crime.
And end up robbing your house.
Exactly. A stark illustration of how our choices ripple out and affect our own security and well-being directly.
So this leads to what the sources call Islam's true economics, which seems totally counter to how most people think about money.
It is counterintuitive, often. The sources say selfless spending, what looks like a loss on a balance sheet, is actually growing, flourishing in ways not immediately visible. Eventually, it returns, enriched and multiplied.
Like planting a seed, an investment with unseen growth.
That's the idea. And the warning on the flip side is just as strong. The one who selfishly withholds or grows it through interest thinks he is securing his money, when in truth, he is slowly draining it through his own ignorance.
Self-destruction disguised as prudence.
Exactly. And the Quran itself backs this up unequivocally.
The verses about interest and charity.
Yes. Allah destroys interest and gives increase for charities. That's not just moral advice. It's presented as a fundamental economic truth. Interest hollows out wealth. Charity expands it.
And the other verse.
Whatever you give in interest to increase in people's wealth does not increase with Allah. But what you give in zakah, seeking Allah's pleasure, those are the ones who will have it multiplied. It establishes this divine economic system where selflessness and distribution yield returns that interest-based systems just can't match.
Okay, so if this divine system is so effective, why don't people just get it? Why is selfishness so prevalent?
The sources identify the root cause. Human blindness to the unseen. Our fundamental limitation.
Our ignorance and short-sightedness.
Right. We tend to believe only what we can see and touch and count. Money in his pocket, growth in his ledger. If wealth leaves his hand and he can't track its immediate return, he thinks.
It's gone. It's a loss.
Exactly. Can't grasp the unseen multiplication.
And human systems haven't cracked this.
The sources argue powerfully that they haven't. Human intellect, economic models, they haven't solved this balance. They point to capitalist nations, driven by interest and profit where wealth abounds, but so do suffering and crisis.
Wealth concentration, envy, instability.
Yes. Critiquing systems that, despite seeming sophisticated, fail to address that core human flaw of short-sightedness regarding wealth and community, leading to strain and breakdown. The systems themselves can perpetuate the inequality.
So the ultimate solution, according to the sources,
comes only from the Creator. The only one who has solved this complexity is the wise Creator, whose book is the Quran. It's presented not as a human theory, but a divine, perfectly designed answer to a problem humanity has struggled with forever.
A divine blueprint.
Precisely. And the key that unlocks our understanding, that opens that locked heart blinded by immediate returns.
Faith.
Yes. Faith in Allah and the last day. Truly believing that Allah is the true owner, that he manages everything, that every atom is accounted for, and that the full reward or punishment comes on the day of judgment.
If you truly believe that,
then you transcend your limited view. You stop relying only on what you can see and measure. You place your trust in Allah's wisdom, his perfect accounting. Faith transforms how you see wealth, its purpose, its ultimate return.
So with that faith, whatever you spend, it's like giving directly to Allah.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
It's recorded in his ledger, whether anyone else knows or thanks you or not. That human need for immediate validation gets replaced by trust in a greater unseen accounting system that guarantees a return far beyond anything worldly.
And the source's promise that return is certain.
Absolutely certain. When Allah has promised a reward, there is no doubt that the return will come, whether in this world or the hereafter or both. It shifts your whole idea of investment from the immediate and fleeting to the eternal and truly expansive, an investment that can't be lost.
Wow, what an incredibly rich journey this has been. We started with Zakah as, yes, a pillar of faith, but saw it unfold as this deep personal test of wisdom, courage, obedience, and finally, that crucial financial sacrifice, a path to divine closeness.
A demanding path.
And then we saw its revolutionary role in society, how it confronts that core human selfishness, warning how that leads to collapse, while selfless giving, guided by divine wisdom, actually builds true prosperity and justice for everyone.
Absolutely. The sources really hammer home that Zakah isn't just conventional charity. It demands a complete overhaul of how you view wealth, ownership, purpose. It ties individual spiritual growth, that divine closeness, cultivating generosity and trust directly to the well-being and stability of the whole community. It's this incredibly intricate, divinely designed system addressing both our spiritual needs and our material reality.
So for you listening, thinking about how deeply our own well-being and our society's health are linked to how we approach wealth, maybe ask yourself, how might a real shift in perspective, seeing wealth not as mine but as a trust, seeking not just immediate gain, but trusting in that greater unseen return. How might that reshape not just my life, but the community, maybe even the world around me?
And building on that, if that blindness to the unseen truly is, as the sources suggest, a root of so much trouble, both personal and societal, what other parts of our lives could be transformed, not just financially, but spiritually, relationally, transformed by embracing that deeper trust in a larger divine accounting? An accounting that goes far beyond what our eyes can see or our calculators can measure.
Definitely something to reflect on. Your own relationship with giving and what it really means to invest in something far bigger, more lasting than just the here and now. Perhaps the greatest returns are the ones we can't yet fully grasp.